Railroad. We're inside the museum right now. What we have inside the museum is restored historic cars that it's a good idea to keep them inside to preserve them. This is a car from the Bridgeton and Saco River. On the other side of this car is a rather unique car from the Sandy River and Rangeley Lakes Railroad, the parlor car Rangeley. Back in the early 1900s, you could pay, I've heard it, about anywhere from 50 cents to $1 more and ride in the parlor car Rangeley. It has its own smoking compartment, it has a bathroom, it has upholstered swivel seats. This car, number 32, is the oldest car in our collection. It was built in 1882 by the Laconia Car Company of Laconia, New Hampshire for the Bridgeton and Saco River Railroad. It's a caboose. Actually, it's a combination car. It does have a baggage door on each side. When it was originally built, it had a cupola on top. Early in its life, that cupola was taken off by a wire and they just never rebuilt it. So it's just a flat roof caboose. Built in 1882, as I mentioned. It operated on the Bridgeton and Saco River Railroad until they went out of business in 1941. It was restored about 4 years ago by our car restoration people headed by Stan Fletcher. They did a lovely job, and so we're keeping this one, our oldest car, inside to protect it. What you can't see behind the camera is all the people here. It's Monday morning. We've got 5 guys in here working on restoring this car. This is combination car 12. It was built on Bridgeton and Saco River Railroad underframe, but Edaville Railroad made this car from the floor up in the 1950s. The team of restorers has gone through it. They've replaced a lot of the structural wood. I think this end sill was replaced, a portion of this side sill. I think that, yes, they put in new siding, batten board type sheathing, and they're just fitting and reinstalling the windows. I painted the floor the other day. This will be back out on the track in another week or so. We're changing, believe it or not, our exterior color slightly. We've gone to a somewhat darker green, an Essex green, which is an off-the-shelf paint. It's closer in shade to what we think would be the right shade for the Sandy River Railroad back in the day. This is not a real pretty sight. This is car 22. It was built on a Bridgeton and Saco River boxcar underbody in the 60s by Edaville Railroad. We're in the process. We've got this whole side torn off. We've got all the windows, new windows milled and put together. We're going to be rebuilding it, but it's a work in progress, so it doesn't look very nice. We're actually going to move it inside. The sun beats down here so hard and it rains a lot here. We're having trouble keeping the new wood from warping. So that'll move inside when the other car 12, comes out. And it'll be much easier to work on it inside, to level it on a nice level flat surface. But anyway, constant maintenance. And this is just an example of it. It doesn't look good, but what it is, it's a sign of progress. And these are just some of our cars behind us. We've got 2 box cars that we use for storage from the Bridgeton and Saco River Railroad. This one here has some miscellaneous stuff in it. Boxcar 70 has all mechanical parts for repairing primarily our steam engines. Behind Boxcar 70 is a flanger from the Bridgeton and Saco River Railroad. A flanger has blades that cut out inside the rails. That's called the flangeway. Let me tell you a little bit about the right-of-way where we're operating. There have been tracks in this location since 1846. The Atlantic and St. Lawrence Railroad was founded to connect Portland and Montreal. Montreal is only about 220 miles from Portland. And Montreal is on the St. Lawrence River, which freezes solid in the winter. Portland Harbor is ice-free. They started putting down tracks in 1846. They finished the connection to Montreal, 220 miles away, in 1853. It was the Atlantic and St. Lawrence Railroad to the Canadian border, and the St. Lawrence and Atlantic from the Canadian border to Montreal. After they completed the connection, it became the Grand Trunk Railroad and eventually became part of the Canadian National System. When they first put the rails down here, the gauge or the distance between the rails was 5.5 feet. That was called the provincial gauge in those days. In 1883, they re-gauged the standard gauge, 4 feet 8.5 inches, and there was rail traffic through here until 1984. We came in 1993 and put in our 2-foot gauge tracks.
Morning, welcome to the Maine Narrow Gauge Railroad. Thank you for joining us. Like I was saying to some of the passengers a little while ago, what we'd be doing right now is what they call a runaround. We take the engine from this position here, we're going to take it up to the switch, throw the switch, and then come back on the siding. What we do is we go all the way back down to the trail, and there's another switch down there, and come back onto the main line, and come back and hook to the caboose of the train and take us back. But because of the construction that we're having on the other end of our right-of-way, we don't have a siding to run around on. So what I'm going to do is just explain a couple things real quick, starting off with the hand signals that we would use. A couple hand signals we use. First is forward, just an up and down motion. The other one is a circular motion, just back up. Another one is the hands at an angle like this, just all stop. And the one we use when we go to couple back up, as you'll see, is this move here, and this is to indicate to stretch the couples in the locomotive to make sure that we are connected. What we're first going to do is reach over. There are two safety chains. Disconnect the safety pins. Pull the pin. Step out of the way. I'm going to give him a hand signal and go ahead. I'm going to walk up to the switch, just like to follow me up to the switch. Make sure they're lining up, make sure there's nothing in between the rail, so it's going to line up properly. You can use this lock. Yeah, and it's also here too on this. It's like a little 5 bar lock. What I just did is adjusted the switch so it's lined up to enter on the siding. Put the lock back in so in case when he goes over so it won't move underneath his wheel so we won't have a derailment. I'm going to give him the backup signal. Back up to the main line, put the lock back in it. Go back here, bring it back to the train.
Platform number 1. Roger. Okay, right there, stop.
You were traveling at the speed of light, you turn your headlights on. Would you see them?
Please bring your train down to the platform.
Is that okay?
Perfect.
Yep, that's the one. But this whistle, I'm telling you, it's the whistle.
No, I did earlier. But not telling me quiet, I can't.
No, okay.
Whistle is tight. It does not sound as good. I'll give you that.
No, it doesn't. I think this whistle sounds anemic. Because it's better than a high-pitched one.